Alright, so we got two prospects in the 135 division. One's Jack Shaw, coming from Wales, and one's Hunter Azure, who's coming from the United States. So Shaw has a 2-inch height advantage. I think he's 13-0. The UFC website doesn't have it correct at the moment, but I think he's 13-0, and I think he's finished 12 of those wins. And, he had a pretty lengthy amateur career as well. I think he was 12-0 there too. So yeah, he's been fighting for quite a bit, and he's had a lot of fights, he's had a lot of experience, but this is a bit of a step up in competition for him. Not a huge step up, because Azure is a bit of an unproven prospect himself, but he's fought the much better competition. Alright, so let's break down the striking of these two. For Jack Shaw, he's pretty good on the feet. He's got a nice snapping jab. Mostly he's throwing singular strikes, so he does mix it up a lot, throws a lot of variety at you. He'll, use a lot of lead leg offense, lead leg high kick, lead leg low kick, and he'll just throw the straight two just by itself. But yeah, as I said before, mostly just one at a time. For Hunter Azure, he's pretty much throwing combinations quite a bit. He's generally always throwing combinations, looks to close the distance, land that 2-3, that 3-2, uppercut, and then followed by the left hook. But mostly he's looking to pressure you, try to get you on the back foot. He's also used a lot of feints to close his strike and entries, because without feints, his strike and entries would just be blitzing him with his chin in the air pretty much. So the feints do help him quite a bit. But yeah, he does keep the hands low, and he does lean back to avoid strikes with his chin in the air. So it did get him caught in the what's his last name? Brian Kelleher. The Brian Kelleher fight. And he's also got a nice uppercut. He'll pretty much wind it up it's pretty much a bolo uppercut, like the one Gustafsson throws when his opponent does close the distance, or when they're dipping a little bit. One thing Jack does on the feet, Jack Shaw, he will reach for low kicks, body kicks, pretty much looking to start a grappling situation, or trying to ground his opponent in any way possible, because that is where he does his best work. So once he does get once he does get top position on the mat, he looks to pass guard, look to get into either mount or side control, usually mount, and then he's got very heavy pressure on top. He keeps everything really tight, even in his transitions, all very tight. He's got pretty heavy pressure on top for a 135er. For Hunter Azure, there's not too much footage on his bottom game. In fact, I couldn't find any, not gonna lie. So yeah, bit of an unknown. So if he does get put on his back, will he have really good scrambles, and will he be able to get back to his feet really easily, or will he struggle off his back? It's just something we haven't seen. So yeah, we'll probably see in this fight. For Jack Shaw as well, he has nice body lock takedowns in the clinch. He'll either use the inside leg trip or the outside leg trip, doesn't really matter to him. And then after that, he looks to get in this dominant position. If they turn, once he does ground them, he will take the back pretty much as soon as they give it, and then try and lock in that body triangle immediately. So that is Hunter does need to worry about, because he does give his back pretty much every time he looks to get back to his feet. And it's just dangerous against this guy. But, Hunter does have a wrestling background of his own. He has a nice single leg, which he runs the pipe. And then, if his opponent turns there, he'll look for the wrestling ride and just control from there. Both these guys have pretty good takedowns and good takedown defense. So I'm interested to see who will impose their wrestling better in this fight. But yeah, both have good takedown defense. Talked about it before. But Jack Shaw, he will use Travis Brown elbows if his opponent is stalling on a shot. So pretty much he looks to punish his opponent if they shoot on him. He'll sprawl Travis Brown elbow, but he also goes for hammer fists as well, knees to the body. Seems to be really offended when you try and shoot on him. But how these guys win fights, Jack Shaw, he's got good takedowns, his chain wrestling is really nice. He's got good takedown defense, good scrambles. Both these guys have good scrambles. Both have good takedown defense. But Jack Shaw, he's got a really slick top game. Everything's just so tight on top, and all his transitions are really nice, keeps everything really tight. For Hunter Azure, already talked about it, good takedown defense, good get-ups, he's very hard to hold down. So much to a fact that we've never seen him off his back, so there's no footage for me to go off. But also he has good grappling cardio, and we saw that in the what's his name? Miles, the guy that he fought recently, Miles? Cole Smith, that's it, Cole Smith. He fought really well, and he was keeping up that pace, and I think he even turned it on in the third round. Taped this one a while ago, but I'm pretty sure he took it to Cole in the last round with his grappling and just went for volume takedowns. So how these guys lose fights. So for Hunter Azure, he can be controlled against the fence. So, just the escapes on the fence clinch need a little work. Katona took advantage of that, really. And for Jack Shaw, it's the striking tendencies that we discussed before. Alright, past the victory for these two. Alright, for Jack Shaw, shoot over his leg kicks, because Hunter will likely be going for those leg kicks. And then, start your chain wrestling, because he's going to be getting up every time. And pretty much every single time you're going to be looking to take the back from there. Just keep chain wrestling until he gives the back in one of those transitions. But also, he blitzes in quite often, so when he does blitz in, look to change levels and look for that reactive double leg. But yeah, for Hunter, keep mixing the blitzing combinations up. Throw a lot of them to the body, so it kind of, discourages him from the takedown a little bit. But for the most part, keep it on the feet. I think I favour Hunter slightly on the feet, just because his volume, and he seems like he has a bit of power. But also for Hunter, look for that uppercut if he's dipping a lot. If he's, changing levels quite a bit, then look for that uppercut. Pretty much just look to keep it on the feet and look to nullify his ground game. Alright, so how I see this fight going. Alright, so yeah, both are pretty early in their careers. I think both of them, pretty high ceilings, but both are very early in their careers. I get Shaw's record is 13-0, but he's had a very slow build-up. His last fight was who was actually Geraldo de Freitas? He's just had a really slow build-up in his career. A very drawn-out career so far. Yeah, in his, amateur career as well, and also his professional career. But yeah, his takedowns look solid, his chain wrestling looked great. Azure's a solid wrestler himself with great takedowns, and it's very hard to keep this guy down. But on the feet, I think Azure will be pushing Shaw back and landing good shots. Shaw won't be just, sitting there taking it. He's going to be landing shots as well. But I think Azure will be landing more, and he'll be, just with the visuals as well, he'll be throwing combinations. Shaw will be throwing just one strike at a time. But I can also see Shaw timing it like a double leg really easily when Azure's blitzing in. Or if, Azure overextends himself on his 2-3. It is concerning that Azure gives his back pretty much every time in the clinch or to get up from bottom. So, Shaw's a specialist at taking the back and securing the back from outside. I think it could be over as soon as he takes the back. But, I haven't seen enough against solid competition to be overly confident in Shaw. But we've also never seen Azure off his back, since he's very hard to keep down and control on the mat. So yeah, it's a very interesting fight. I'm going to have to lean Jack Shaw. I think he gets it done by submission. Let's have a look at the betting lines. So yeah, I think Shaw wins this around 55 to about 60% of the time. I think he gets the rear naked choke quite a bit, actually, with Azure's tendency of giving his back. So I'm kind of waiting for the submission line if I'm going to play any of these props at all, but in my opinion, the line is correct at the moment. Yeah. So, yeah, should be a good fight, and keen to see who's the better prospect.